With not much known about Omicron still, WHO's chief calls for greater vaccine equity and hopes the pandemic will end in 2022. Still thinking about going on vacation? IATA says Omicron may double the risk of getting infected on planes. And with the Christmas holiday upon us, we have a festive lineup for this week's Life Picks. Welcome to The Big Story. I'm Olivia Quay. You can subscribe to the Straits Times channel so you never miss a single episode. Almost a month since South Africa first raised the alarm about the Omicron COVID-19 variant, and the World Health Organization still doesn't have enough data on it to say if it's more transmissible than Delta. WHO Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus holding out hope though that the pandemic will end next year. Calling again for greater vaccine equity, he says, quote, "As we approach the new year, we must all learn the painful lessons this year has taught us. 2022 must be the end of the COVID-19 pandemic." For now, it looks like most countries are facing a second Christmas under the cloud of COVID-19. For the first time yesterday, Britain reported more than 100,000 new cases in a single day, less than 24 hours after Prime Minister Boris Johnson promised there won't be new curbs in England for Christmas. Meanwhile, Spain is taking steps to combat a surge in infections, with the cabinet meeting later today to approve a decree that reimposes mask wearing outdoors. However, it's not clear when the rule will come into force. People in Australia's populous New South Wales and Victoria states also need to once again put on their masks in indoor public places. The reintroduction of this mandate comes as tens of thousands of domestic travellers thronged test centres to get results necessary to travel interstate for Christmas. And in the US, its top infectious diseases expert Dr. Anthony Fauci says attending large gatherings isn't safe even for those who have received a vaccine booster shot. And according to the International Air Transport Association, since the emergence of Omicron, aircraft passengers are twice or even 3 times more likely to catch COVID-19 during a flight. Although hospital-grade air filters make the risk of infection much lower on planes compared with crowded places on the ground, Omicron is rapidly spreading just as more travelers go for year-end holidays. And so, like before, passengers should avoid face-to-face contact and surfaces that are frequently touched. 76 imported COVID-19 cases confirmed by Singapore authorities last night, the highest since the start of the pandemic. But no further details on these cases were provided on the Health Ministry's website. Separately, as at December the 20th, 65 imported Omicron cases were detected here, with over 90% of them being returning Singaporeans, PRs or long-term pass holders. 53 of the cases had arrived via the vaccinated travel lanes, and of these, 41 were found through their on-arrival PCR test, the other 12 through Singapore's enhanced testing regime for incoming travellers. Following yesterday's announcement that new VTL tickets will be suspended until January the 20th, all VTL bus tickets sold by bus operator Causeway Link for travel from Singapore to JB in January have been snapped up as Malaysians here rush to secure their return home before Chinese New Year. Meanwhile, the second bus operator, Transstar Travel, tells the Straits Times that it's selling tickets one date at a time, beginning with tickets for January 21st. The Anytime Fitness outlet in Bukit Timah Shopping Centre that was recently linked to the suspected Omicron cluster has been ordered to close for 10 days. Authorities finding that the gym did not ensure that patrons adhere to safe management measures. In non-COVID-19 news, a former Malaysia Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad was discharged from the National Heart Institute earlier today. In a statement, the institute says he underwent a series of medical investigations before he was ready to be discharged. It also says Dr. Mahathir and his wife expressed their thanks to everyone for their concern and prayers over the last 1 week when he was admitted. Meanwhile, residents in Johor's East Coast districts being warned to take precautionary measures with thunderstorms expected to hit within the next few days. The Johor Crown Prince also instructing all government agencies to be ready for floods and decree that all district and government agency officers in the state ensure machinery, equipment and preparations were on standby and ready to be deployed at any time. Back home, Singapore inflation continuing to climb last month, breaking records in October. Core inflation, which excludes rents and private road transport costs, climbed to 1.6% amid rising services costs. Overall inflation, meanwhile, edged up to 3.8%, with the increase driven by stronger private transport inflation and the higher core inflation. With Christmas just around the corner, we've got a very festive lineup for this week's Live Picks. Do you need a quick Christmas dessert or even some last-minute presents? We've got you covered, but first, film correspondent John Louis is here to talk about the fourth installment of the Matrix franchise. So John, the Matrix Resurrections is coming 18 long years after the original trilogy. Why is it worth revisiting this world again?
Well, it's worth it if you're a fan of the third film. I understand the first film was such a cultural moment. You know, it wasn't just a film, it was a massive hit. The other two films kind of ruined it for a lot of people because they wasn't as good. But this film tries to move things into a different direction.
So, good and bad things about the Matrix Resurrections then?
Yeah, it depends on how you feel about the idea of the nature of reality and how much dialogue there is that kind of makes your head spin. But, you know, it is the Lana Wachowski's project and they gave her a lot of freedom, so I respect the film for sticking to its ideas, its big ideas. It might leave a lot of people cold, but you have to respect them for it.
John Louis there, our film correspondent. The Matrix Resurrections is out in cinemas right now. If you're still lacking a dessert dish for Christmas, STFood online editor Hedy Khoo has a recipe for Black Forest trifle that you can very easily whip up. So Hedy, what are the steps here?
Yeah, it's really easy because you can use store-bought chocolate pound cake. And also you just need a chocolate bar for the garnish and dark stem cherries. Or if you really want to cut short even like making the garnish, you can just use chocolate chips. So the very first step is to get cherries. You can either use sour cherries. If you're using sour cherries, you've got to make a syrup because, well, they're sour and you want something sweet for dessert. If not, I found another alternative which is easier to get actually in the supermarket, which is like dark sweet cherries, which come in heavy syrup. So you don't even have to make your own syrup. You can just, well, get rid of the syrup because you'll be soaking the cherries in kirsch. And you want to give yourself like a head start, you know, do it the night before you're going to assemble the trifle. It's more assembly work. So it's basically just layering for arranging and assembling the trifle. You start with the chocolate pound cake, you cut it into pieces, you put it at the bottom of a glass, or you can put it in a jar. You can make it in individual portions or, you know, in a whole tray if you're hosting a little gathering or for your family. So you start with the first layer of chocolate pound cake pieces and then put on the kirsch soaked cherries and then the whipped cream, the cocoa flavored one. And then you just carry on with the layers until you reach the top. And then you put it into the fridge to chill. And after that, when you're ready to serve it, put on the garnishing and you're pretty much ready to serve it up. or eat it yourself.
Sounds and looks delicious and will taste just as wonderful, I'm sure. You can read through the recipe in the link below if you're watching us on YouTube. Hey, if you're like me and still haven't finished your Christmas shopping, journalist Amanda Chai is here to tell us why a Moleskine could make a great gift. A wider array of Moleskine's products can be found at its new store in Paragon, the first one in Southeast Asia. So Amanda, run us through what the standout products are, and are there any good deals for Christmas?
Yeah, so Moleskine has always been known for their classic minimalist black notebook. They also have calendars, diaries, and smart notebooks as well. But since this is the first flagship store in Singapore and Southeast Asia, the brand has launched a few limited edition collections to celebrate the opening. There is a fun collab with Italian luxury fashion house Missoni, featuring their signature zigzag prints on the notebooks. For something, Christmassy, there is a velvet collection. And if you just want a simple, chic gift, Moleskine has created premium fountain pens with German pen manufacturer W.H.O. Deals-wise, until Christmas or this Saturday, you can get a free Moleskine roller pen worth $27 when you spend $60 and above.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, journalist Amanda Chai there. From good deals this Christmas to food and entertainment, you can find more live pics and the latest news at str.sg/life. Visit straitstimes.com for more news and our YouTube channel for more videos. Subscribe by hitting the red button below. We're off for a short Christmas break, so on behalf of the Big Story team, Merry Christmas and see you next week.